asylum time, motherfucker.
Boo, bitch! Paranormal Activity. What could possibly be the scariest movie of all time? I mean, this is the movie that made Richard Dawkins sleep with a Bible every night for a week. But what was once a fresh and innovative look at horror in Hollywood has now become a mediocre series of shitty anal beads. They keep shitting them out, and people keep paying money for it. Seems like a pretty solid plan, right? It seems like ever since the first movie, they've been trying to recapture that spark that made the first movie such a classic. It literally breathed new breath into a failing genre, and so much that it's been the inspiration for shitty remakes and shitty knockoffs, shitty spoofs, and even shitty YouTube reviews. And that leads me to the latest fail and a long list of fails. Paranormal Activity, the marked ones. No, I have not seen it, and I don't have any plans on seeing it. Why? Because of this.
You got change?
Yeah, I got change.
Careful, don't point the camera at them.
What's up? What's up, man?
Hey, get back, man! Hey, man, get my back! Stop it! Stop! Jesse, get up, dog!
What the fuck? Did the demon go and see Man of Steel and have a change of heart about being evil? Paranormal Activity 2 wasn't that bad, but it still frails in comparison to the original. Well, let's see what makes Paranormal Activity such a classic. First and foremost, the movie has no opening credits, just a thank you to the families of Micah Sloat and Katie Featherston. Straight away, we're thrown into a few very intimate shots of Micah and his new camera, which isn't unlike most people who have just bought a new, well, anything. We then get introduced to Katie, his live-in girlfriend.
It's like a little handheld, easy to move around, versatile.
No, we're just gonna film, whatever happens to us.
Okay.
Once we know what's going on, we can react appropriately. And
Go from there.
if it's one of those neighbors, one of those kids who's just obsessed with you and is trying to like peep in through a window or something at night, ooh.
Well, if my girl had a rack like Katie's, I consider killing the horny neighbor kid too. Micah and Katie hear a noise coming from somewhere in the house and decide to go investigate.
Hearing a weird sound. It's the ice maker. Damn it.
You see, that's exactly why I don't go over any of my white friends' houses anymore, because they all have that same shit wrong with their refrigerators. Well, that and this.
Hey, I was wondering if you'd want to come over later or something.
I can't tonight, man. I actually got some
There's
things I
this
need to take care
one
of.
thing that sounds pretty good. It's
Breaking Bad?
breaking in the Busty Mills back door. I think it sounds pretty promising.
We then get to night number 1, and we get some footsteps, but nothing major. The next day, Katie is excited about the psychic they hired to come over and make sense of the entity, while Micah, well, not so much.
I got something quite appropriate for your psychic, though, I think.
What?
Maybe I'll play this when he gets here. I think it'll make him feel at home.
And then we get our first real glimpse into Micah's personality. He's just like Scott, a dick.
So you think a psychic would be on time? Like you could foretell if the traffic was going to be bad?
You're clever.
We then get more insight into what's actually going on with these two. Apparently, Katie has been experiencing paranormal activity since she was about 8, up until now. I must say that I love the natural look and feel of this scene with the psychic. It really feels like something you might just run across on YouTube. See? The psychic explains that it's not a ghost, but in fact, a demon. And that whether or not you're a rational, logically minded person, it doesn't matter. Because you're still fucked.
Check this out. What if we just get the switchboard, right? And we find out what it wants, and then we just give it what it wants, and then gone.
Because what it probably wants is Katie. And if you do pick up a Ouija board and try to play games with it, the entity will sense that you're trying to communicate with it. And that's opening the door, inviting it in.
Now let's put this in our pockets for later.
There has been cases in history where these things do harm to people. Not a lot, but it has happened. And in some cases, albeit rare cases, people have died. I don't tell you this to scare you, I tell you this to give you frank information. You need to know this. Do you understand me?
Yeah, I'm with you.
I hope so. You're gonna be fine.
We then get to night number 3. And this is where shit gets real.
Tell me you didn't open the line.
Just the fact that they were completely unaware of his presence is what makes us, the audience, feel vulnerable for them. I mean, yeah, it just moved the door, but well, the fucking door shouldn't be moving on its titties.
Titties and beer. Titties and beer. Titties and beer. Titties and beer. I thank God Almighty for titties and beer. Big titties and beer.
Get rid of it, please. You want to eat something?
Yeah, well, I thought it was a ghost or something.
Case closed! I know what moved the door. It was that spider. It looks like it got bit by Peter Parker. For God's sakes, it's big enough to drive a fucking car. Katie explains to Mika that it doesn't feel human in nature, but in fact, more like a
It
monster.
doesn't feel human. It feels like feels like a monster. I mean, like it wants to hurt me.
Well, that sounds actually like a demon.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Now, I want you to remember those feet right there. Night number 5, we get the low grumbling noise significant of the demon's presence, and Katie being jarred out of her sleep by a nightmare.
No, I just had a nightmare.
The two then hear a noise, and what? They decide to investigate.
Take this. That came from.
Oh God.
What?
I'm sorry.
They don't discover anything downstairs, and it fades into the next day.
Okay.
You sure?
I'm still creeped out.
I know it's bead time, but I have a little something I want to show you guys.
Mika explains that he picked up a jumbled sound that he concludes is the demon trying to communicate.
For about 10 seconds before we woke up.
Ooh! I finally get to use my Paranormal Translator app! What? Oh!
Well, I listened to it
You know
50 times. It's not saying anything. It's not a language that I recognize. It's not.
Don't feel too bad, Mika. Most dicks can barely understand truth when they hear it, let alone speak it. Night number 13, and after almost 2 weeks of putting up with Mika's shit, the entity has finally had enough. They go and, you guessed it, investigate. They hear a noise, go and investigate, find nothing, and go back to bed like 4 or 5 times within the first half hour of the movie. I mean, it does its job of creating tension, but for fuck's sake, what are they expecting, a demon to just pop up out of nowhere and go,
"Hello there, children.
Next day, Mika takes a page right out of TMZ's big book of dick cheese journalism and fires off a series of really dumbass questions.
Do you have something to say in English this time? Would you be happier talking with the Ouija board? What is your quest? What is your favorite color? Do you have something to say in English this time? You got nothing to say, huh? Would you be happier talking with the Ouija board? Whoa.
Ooh, wait, I get to use my Paranormal Translator app again.
Is that you?
2 nights later, Katie wakes up and gives one of the creepiest standing next to the bed for an hour and 54-minute performances ever. Granted, it is unnerving to think that your partner is just standing next to your bed staring at you for almost 2 hours. But in this case, I'm sure she was more than likely pondering her reasons for being with such a douche.
Kate, what are you doing out here?
Mika awakes to discover Katie outside, just titties on the titties. He leaves her titties outside and comes back in to discover the TV is on for no apparent reason. And then suddenly, titties are behind him and... Wait! Oh, God. You know what? I've got to go titties or I'm going to explode. We'll be right back. That was awesome!
Chips! Gotta have beef, gotta have spice, need a little excitement. Snap into a Slim Jim. Oh, yeah!
The quest for the newest fruit roll-ups continues.
Finally, Steamy, it is ours. Don't you know what that means? A creation of my very own, made from my stinky sweat socks. He's gone mad. No, Ren. Yes! Look what you've done. My plan's ruined. Idiots.
It's new Nickelodeon Peel-Outs, Ren, Stimpy, Doug, and more. Nickelodeon characters now on fruit roll-ups. What fun fruit roll-ups will we roll out with next?
Now back to a brand new...
Happy asylum time, motherfucker!
So, remember that thing we put in our pockets earlier?
And if you do pick up a Ouija board and try to play games with it, the entity will sense that you're trying to communicate with it. And that's opening the door, inviting it in.
Got something to say? Now's your chance.
Yeah, I don't know how believable or accurate the character of Mika is, but I don't know anybody in real life who would actually experience what he's experienced and still be such a smug ass clown about it all. I mean, not only that, but at the request of his girlfriend and at the professional opinion of the psychic to not get a Ouija board, he goes and gets one anyway. What the fuck?
I'm leaving and you're coming with me.
Whoa, chill, babe.
And then this happens.
I cannot fucking believe you, Mika.
I swear to abide by Katie's rules and regulations of camera use and other things. Whatever. Is that good enough for you?
I just want you to shit on you, small fuck.
I think it needs to be a little more sincere.
God, I hope you die.
And exactly what is this gonna prove?
Well, if anything walks through here, it's gonna leave a pretty good footprint.
Okay. I think we've pretty much established something's happening. Alright. But tomorrow, I'm making the call.
Night 17 is probably the most eventful night so far.
Footsteps in, but there's no footsteps out.
Remember the picture from the demon book earlier? Notice anything? Wait, now, this is just my guess, but I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that that's the demon that's been stalking Katie. I mean, it's either that or a Battletoad. The tracks lead to the attic where Mika finds a burned picture of Katie as a child, which she says shouldn't even exist because it was lost in a fire.
What in the hell is this doing in the attic?
Night 18 is when the Hellspawn just decides to go apeshit.
Right now, come on.
Who's there?
Baby, come on.
Fuck with us?
What the fuck? I wonder what Mika thinks this thing looks like. They call the psychic back, and to even my surprise, he just freaks out and leaves.
It certainly doesn't like that I'm here, and I cannot help you.
What?
In fact, I've got to get out of here.
No,
This
no,
thing is
no,
very
no.
aggravated, the
You
fact
can't
that
leave
I'm
us
here.
alone here. This is not...
Wait. Everybody calm down.
What should we do? Should we leave? Should we...
Leaving won't help. Let me see what I can do, but I've got to leave this room right now.
This is
I've got
no
to leave.
joke.
I will help you, but I can't do this right now.
No.
Serious?
Well, when all else fails,
Who you gonna call?
Someone else.
Night 19 isn't really scary per se, but we do get a great homage to classic moments in horror movie history. I mean, the shadow on the door alone really puts me in the mindset of Nosferatu. The lights flickering on and off and that static shot of the bedroom all together makes for a very intense scene. On the other hand, Night 20 is just pure fucking terror. They decide to leave in the morning after what happened last night, but Katie tells Mika that staying would be better.
I think we'll be okay now.
You know, for a fucking smug know-it-all, it seems really out of character for him not to notice his girlfriend speaking with two voices and being totally fine with being violently ripped out of her bed and dragged down the hallway.
Looks like something bit you.
Oh, and bitten by a vorcha. So Harry and Lloyd decide to stay because, you know, everything's fine, right?
3 hours later.
Katie! What's the matter, Mary?
Now, many of you may know this, but some of you might not. But Paranormal Activity actually has 3 different endings. The theatrical version, which most people have seen, ends with Katie throwing Mika's dead body at the camera and then turning into a YouTube screamer. Don't worry, I'm not going to do it twice. The second ending, which most people have probably seen because it was an extra on the DVD, is Katie coming upstairs covered in blood with a knife in her hand and slitting her throat in front of the camera, which really would have emphasized the demon's malevolent nature. But the original ending is my personal favorite, and I think it makes the most sense. You see, Katie comes upstairs covered in blood with the butcher knife in her hand from earlier. She sits on the side of the bed and rocks back and forth for about
3 days later.
before her friend Amber comes to discover Mika dead. Amber calls the police and they arrive to find Katie upstairs. She frantically comes at them with the knife in her hand and they warn her to put the knife down. She doesn't, and they end up fatally shooting her. Now this, in my opinion, is the best of all 3 endings, and it makes the most sense. It should have ended with Katie losing her own life. My proof of that being the 2 very shitty prequels, the 1 shitty sequel, and the really shitty spinoff. This is a perfect example of greed and how negatively it can impact anything it comes in contact with. Everything from the bland performances in Paranormal Activity 2 to the overzealous ending of Paranormal Activity 3 to the sheer been there done that tone in Paranormal Activity 4 and the action-packed ridiculousness of Paranormal Activity, the marked ones. To quote Mr. Royalton from the Speed Racer movie,
All that matters is power and the unassailable might of money.
artistic integrity be damned. Oren Peli made this movie with just about $15,000, and since then it's gone on to gross more than $200 million worldwide. At one point, even Steven Spielberg was attached to this project, who of course wanted to turn it into a bloated, ego-fueled horror dud. There's no theatrical score for Paranormal Activity, instead relying solely on the noise created by the demon, the footsteps, the banging on the wall, and of course that signature low grumbling that signifies whenever he's in the room. The movie instills terror not only through the unknown, but the everyday fear of home invasion. The thought that someone is in your home while you're sound asleep in your bed is enough to make companies like ADT and Guardian billions of dollars based completely on that what-if scenario. Well, that's Paranormal Activity. Is it a perfect movie? No, but what movie? Boo, bitch!
John.